Well, we'll talk about a new fight that's looming between Meta, which used to be Facebook, and the EU Commission. Now, we know that Meta, they've had their issues with data privacy over the years, but actually this upcoming fight is not so much about privacy, it's about competition. Meta, they've built AI into their apps. We know that Zuck, he has invested billions and hundreds of billions in AI and CapEx and staff and teams, etc., without having a hyperscaler or a commercial model. So for them, it's all been about building the AI into the business itself and benefiting from it. And one of the things they've done there is they've been including new AI models in WhatsApp, which is used by pretty much every single human being outside the United States. Brussels is fine by that, by the way, but they say that Meta needs to allow users to use other AI models, not just Meta's. Meta has said, fine, we'll agree, but then those other firms will have to pay. Brussels, they've now rejected Meta's pay-to-access remedy, and there's now speculation that they could force Meta to open to other AI models. And it would be the first time the EU would force a platform to open AI competitors access at no cost. Now, WhatsApp has got more than 3 billion users globally, so it's a big deal. Lomax, I mean, do you agree with Brussels? Where's the line here between kind of an essential platform that there should be open access to and private rails that somebody has built and owns and should be able to monetize as they see, right?
It's an interesting one, this, because the Americans haven't gone in the same direction, right? Which I think the American philosophy here is, as long as there's some competition somewhere in the stack, then we're happy for this to run. It may also be that, Meta won a huge case against the FTC recently. So I think they're kind of inclined not to go after them. But anyway, focusing on, look, I think this is a abusive dominant position risk that the EU is getting its teeth stuck into. As a citizen and user, and also like business that would like to use this, clearly you can have some sympathy with the position that the EU's taken. Ultimately, though, I am personally more of the line that the market will just figure this one out and that you don't start fiddling and meddling in this until you see something like manifestly unjust. I guess like the EU is probably called that position now, but I would probably unsurprisingly, as someone who, invests in and partners with founders building companies, I would be inclined to, let the kids play in the sandpit and not start intervening here, right? And for context, the intervention here is big. They have the ability to fine Meta up to 10% of global revenue. So that would be $16-20 billion, which is a huge amount of money. And actually, sometimes we say that the American tech companies see these European fines as just a cost of doing business. But, when you're trying to release every single bit of cash that you have at Meta to invest in data centers, $15, $20, $25 billion fine is something that's you're gonna take very seriously.
It seems like Lomax, you're taking the solid Anglo free market approach here. Andrew, Brussels are saying, look, we got a platform here with 3 billion users. Is that essential infra that should be seen sort of almost as a public utility and that there should be some open access to? Or do you agree with Lomax here that really it should be up to the platform, up to Meta, whether they want other AIs to have access or not?
I think it's a genuinely tricky question. I mean, WhatsApp is effectively infrastructure in many markets. And when you think about where some of these platforms may go, let's say that X is successful in its expansion into a more generalized platform, as you see in some Asian countries where you can sort of buy, you can sell, there's banking services. I think X is going to add payment services soon. If the Western markets were to adopt those sort of applications, which they haven't to date, and WhatsApp then decided to go the same way, then you really are talking about a very sort of monopolized situation. So I think it's really tricky. I think dominating a market, does make it very hard for other companies, the startups, to get reach and access. It's not impossible.
I guess we have to admit that, although our instincts would be kind of free market, Anglo, let's, as Lomax said, let the kids play in the sandbox, or let business do what it needs to do to create value. There have been examples of situations where European competition regulation has forced the European economy to be much better. I mean, take banking, take payments, where the US system still is absolutely hopeless with kind of cost and time and delay and sort of the ACH and some of those models, and where kind of the UK, faster payments and kind of the open banking we've seen in Europe has been, far, far ahead of anything you've had in the US.
Opening it complicates liability when you think about fraud, when you think about security and spam, and then you think about the pressure also for some of these distribution platforms to take responsibility for the content that is shared. As soon as you have third-party agents involved, then whose responsibility is it? Is it the source agent? Is it the delivery platform? Is it is it the app that it's consumed through? It starts to make some of these, the implementation of some of the other safety criteria really complicated. If you remember back in the day with the first .com boom, then, it was very much the ISPs that were being pushed to take responsibility for what was delivered through the service they were offering for dial-up or for broadband. Now it's shifted to platforms. But as soon as you have then a platform which is agnostic from the point of view of allowing a third-party AI agent, then you just end up in a blame game, right, in terms of bad content or in terms of fraud and everything else. So I think it's really complicated. But you're absolutely right that without the government enforcing some level of open access, then it just becomes a one-stop shop until, we wait another 5 years for WhatsApp to become such a dinosaur that actually something else comes along which is exponentially better. As you saw with sort of, Skype was around for the one-stop shop for so long, and then it got replaced. But that cycle can take a very long time, and it can definitely scupper innovation.
Or like the problem becomes so big that actually, this is more like kind of in the US style, as you've seen against Apple, right? Is that horizontal lawsuits take place. Companies bring suits against, the dominant position, right? Rather than the state intervening directly top down, preemptively.
Yeah. So certainly more to watch as we see what remedy the Commission is going to settle on. And we're going to be looking forward to that here in the coming weeks.